Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hogue, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Effortlessly indeed. I'm AJ Hogue, the author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. I'm the father of the effortless English system that trains you, that teaches you, that helps you speak English effortlessly. Speak English fluently. Speak English powerfully. Speak English confidently. Feel confident and relaxed when you speak English. When you speak English, other people understand you because you speak well. Your pronunciation is good. They understand you. You understand them because your listening is very good. Spoken English training. You commit to my VIP program, and these are the results. When you commit to my VIP program, you go to effortlessenglishclub.com. That's where you join. That's where you commit. And then you just commit each month. You get lessons, you get lessons, you get lessons. You just listen to them a couple hours a day, as much as you can. And month by month, you get better and better and better. Many successful VIP members already. And you also will be a successful VIP member when you go to effortlessenglishclub.com and commit. Don't quit. Commit at effortlessenglishclub.com. Live on Facebook, I had a couple-day break. I had a few things I had to do for my babies. But I'm happy to be back. Today we're going to do another story from Aesop. Another one of Aesop's Fables. If you're watching on video, I'll show the cover of my book. Aesop's Fables. His name, A-E-S-O-P, Aesop. Aesop's Fables. And we'll do the second one in my book today. So again, nice, very short little stories. Very, very short, like one paragraph stories, which is perfect. And they usually have some nice vocabulary in there and also an interesting message. So it's really perfect. I'll take just a quick hello to those of you who are live on Facebook. One second. All right, so just lots of people saying hello from lots of places. Korea, Moscow, hey. Brazil, India, Iraq, Kurdistan, New York City, Bangkok, Sao Paulo, also Brazil, Algeria, Nepal, Ukraine, Vietnam, Bangladesh. Hey, Cardo, how's it going? Egypt, hey, Taha. So anyway, Ibrahim, good to see you too. Good to see lots of you as usual. Tell you what, let's just get started, and then I'll come back and do comments and questions after. All right, I'm going to read this. So as usual, I will read it first, then come back, and I will explain the vocabulary, and then come back again and discuss. And then finally, hey Lisa, then back to the comments and questions. Here we go. Number 2, friend or foe is the name of it. A fox slipped when climbing a fence. To save himself from falling, he clutched at a briar bush. The thorns made his paws bleed, and in his pain he cried out, "Oh dear! I turned to you for help, and you have made me worse off than I was before." And then the briar spoke. The plants can speak too in this story. "Yes, my friend," said the briar, "you made a bad mistake when you tried to lay hold of me. I lay hold of everyone myself." That's the end of the story. Very short. Let's go back to the beginning. And we'll learn the vocabulary. Okay, the title is Friend or Foe. A foe, F-O-E, is an enemy. So it means friend or enemy. Okay, a fox is an animal. Slipped. To slip means to fall. When climbing a fence, like a wall. So this fox is trying to climb over a fence, a wall. And when he's climbing, he slips. Maybe it's wet or something, and he starts to fall. So there's a briar bush. What's a briar bush? A briar means like a thorn, right? It's, these plants that have thorns. A thorn is like a sharp, right? It looks like a nail, right? It's very painful if you grab it, right? Like a big sharp thorn or nail. We have many words in English for this kind of thing. But basically, it's this long and pointy and painful, right? Like roses, for example, right? Rose bushes have thorns, right? They're very painful. If you grab a rose bush, pain. So a briar bush is just really any kind of bush that has this same idea, these same thorns that are painful. So he's falling, the fox, he's climbing, and then he's falling. He sees this bush. He tries to grab it, right, to stop from falling. He wants to stop himself. So he grabs for this bush. But the thorns made his paws bleed. A paw is like a hand for an animal, right? Dogs, cats, foxes, they have paws, not hands and feet, right? They've got the little soft things on the bottom. P-A-W, paw. So, of course, right, he's falling and he grabs, but it's very sharp. There's a thorn, like a rose bush, and now it hurts his hand, right? His hand is bleeding because he grabbed it. And when he grabs it, he cries out, meaning he shouts. He says, "Oh, dear, I turn to you for help." Now he's talking to the bush. He's talking to the bush. He said, "I was looking for you to help me, but instead you hurt me," right? "I was looking for help from you, and you made me worse than I was before," right? He fell, and he hurt his hand now, his paw. And then the bush talks back to him. The briar bush talks back and says, "Yes, you made a bad mistake when you tried to grab me. You made a bad mistake because you tried to grab me, but I always grab everybody else." And that's the end of the story. So some of our vocabulary words: foe means enemy. A thorn is like that sharp thing on a rose bush, right? The sharp part of a plant that'll cut you. Thorn. Briar bush is that kind of a bush. And really, that's about it. Pretty simple. Oh, in the beginning, he says he tried to clutch a briar bush. To clutch, that word means to grab and to hold. To clutch. If you're watching on video, I'm showing you now. This is to clutch. You grab something and hold it with your hand. The verb is clutch, to clutch. It's very similar to grab, but it has the idea of grabbing and holding on. Clutch. So the important part of the word clutch is that, and how clutch is different than grab is that clutch has the idea of that you're holding on. You're grabbing, but you continue to hold on. You're clutching. All right, so that's the vocabulary. What does this story mean? Because there's always a message. Each of these fables each of Aesop's fables have some message, maybe more than one message. This is, in fact, the message of this story is very similar to the probably the more famous story about the frog and the scorpion. Maybe you know that one, right? The frog and the scorpion wants to go across a river. Right, it's the same message, and the message is this: is that that people, human nature, people follow their own nature. People follow their nature. This is very Taoist, in fact. Right. So each of us has our own nature, our own character, our own virtue or lack of virtue, right? Our own habits. And we follow that. We always follow that, right? Things follow their nature. And it is very foolish to go against that, to try to go against that. And it's very foolish to expect, to think that someone else will change their nature. That's the message. Why is that the message? Well, you think about it. So the fox is climbing and he's falling and he grabs for a thorn bush. But it's foolish. Why? Because thorn bushes, what is their nature? Their nature, they have thorns. The nature is they will hurt you. And that's what the bush says to him. At the end of the story, the bush says, you were foolish to grab me, right? You're foolish to thinking I will help you because my nature is I have thorns. My nature is I hurt people, right? With my thorns. My nature is not to help people. So you were foolish to expect. You were foolish to think that I would help you. You were foolish to try to get my help. And if you know the frog and the scorpion story, it's the same basic message. The scorpion attacks the frog at the end, and he says this, and the frog is like, "Why did you attack me?" And he says the same thing. Well, it's my nature. It's my nature. It's who I am. So how is this? These stories are, of course, they're not really about animals or plants. They're about people. So what is he saying? He's saying that whenever in life, do not expect help from people who have a bad nature, who are not virtuous. That, in other words, you have to look at people's nature because that's how they will behave. It doesn't matter how they talk. It doesn't matter the situation. If someone's bad, they're bad. And if you expect them to help you, if they have a bad nature, right? You can't trust them. They always cheat everybody. And then you need help and you go and you try to get help from them. They're not going to help you. They're going to cheat you because that's what cheating people do, right? If someone's not honest and you go to them for help and advice, they're going to lie to you because that's what dishonest people do. So that's the message, is that you must look at people's nature. You must look deeper at the nature of the person, not just the surface, not just the words. Also, another meaning of this is that you must especially be careful when you need help, right? When you have a bad situation, right? The fox was falling, he needed help, and he immediately tried to grab the thorn bush, right? He didn't think. He didn't think about the nature of the thorn bush, that it was actually going to hurt him even more. And of course, this is very true in life, that when we have a hard time, when we're falling, right? When we're failing, when we're having a painful time in life, we must be extra careful about other people. Because bad people will use that to hurt us, right? When we're weak, that's when bad people try to hurt us or cheat us or do something bad to us. It's not when you're strong and everything's great. No, it's when you're weak. It's when you need help that it's easy for a bad person to hurt you. So when you need help, when you are weak, when you are having a hard time, big problem, you must be extra careful about who do you ask for help, right? Because if you ask the wrong person, they're going to hurt you even more. It's another message of this story. So it's not saying never trust anyone. That's not the message. The message is that you must look at the true nature, right? You must look at people's nature. You must be careful and you must be wise, intelligent, and see the true nature of things. Thorn bushes have thorns that will hurt you if you grab them. That's its nature. You can't change that. It's foolish to try to expect something different. And that's what the bush told him. It was foolish for the fox to expect help. All right, so very simple. Again, to repeat our vocabulary words, just foe, F-O-E, foe. This is a common phrase you'll see, friend or foe, friend or enemy. So obviously, at first the fox thought the bush was his friend, but actually his enemy. It actually hurt him more. To slip, is like when something's wet and it causes you to fall. That verb is to slip. Clutch, that's a good one. That's probably our best word for today's story. To clutch is a nice verb. To clutch. To clutch. Like you might clutch. We will say clutching. Okay, like this has some money in it. It's a little thing has money. So I might clutch it, right? It has the idea of grabbing it and holding it tightly. To clutch. To grab and to hold. And it has kind of the idea that you're holding on tight. You might clutch money. For example, to clutch. That's a nice word. All right, so let's go to comments and questions now. See what our Effortless English family, what do you think about this story and its meaning and any questions and all of that? Okay, and Cardo with an idiom connected to this story, the meaning. A leopard can't change its spots. Exactly, that's an idiom that we have. A leopard can't change. A leopard is a kind of a cat, right? Big cat. And it has spots, right? Little circles, spots on its hair, its fur. And it can't change it, right? And it's the same idea. It can't change its nature. Gloria is with a nice point. To me, this story is kind of like when you get a solution for some problem and the solution is a worse mistake. That's also, that's a good point. Yeah, that is another message of this story, is that sometimes if we don't think clearly, right, we react too fast to a problem. We can make it even worse, right? Our solution can be even worse than the original problem. So it's also saying, think before you do something quickly. Because many times, like, we have a problem or we're unhappy and we will just react quickly, right? We just react quickly without thinking, without noticing. We're just suddenly, we react. We think we're going to improve the situation, but instead we make it worse. I mean, an example of this would be, let's say you are in a relationship, right? Let's say you're married, even husband or wife, and your wife, let's say your wife or your husband is in a bad mood and they're tired and they say something, a little bit rude to you, right? It makes you angry. And you immediately react and say something angrier back to them. And then now they react and they say something angrier back to you, and then it gets worse. Each reaction makes the situation even worse, right? And so what like Gloria is saying, sometimes it's best just let the bad thing happen, because the solution, the reaction can sometimes be worse than the event. Like the fox, he should have just let himself fall, right? Fall down. It hurts a little bit, but he's okay. But by trying to grab, he also hurt his hand. He made it worse. Of course, this is not always true in life, but the idea is that be careful. The message is be careful. Shirak says, I told my family your stories from your book. They liked it and they're happy. They want me to tell another story. Oh, nice. Yeah, well, these are Aesop stories, they're very old. Where's your bottle of water? Right there. Yeah, so here's like Dowd with a nice, Abraham with a nice summary. Do not expect good from evil people. Exactly right. And it's surprising how many people do. It's very surprising how many people will expect evil people to suddenly do something good. They think that if they give them a good argument, or they can somehow convince the evil person, and with logic and reason and emotion, that somehow the evil person will suddenly realize that they're wrong and they will change. It doesn't happen. That's the message of this story, is that is crazy. It's not going to happen. It's the same thing with liars. Like the news. I can't understand anyone who believes the news, watches, BBC or CNN or any of that stuff. I simply cannot understand how anyone can watch that and believe it, because they are such clear liars. They are proven liars again and again and again. How can you expect them to suddenly tell the truth? This time, maybe they're telling the truth this time. Of course not. They're liars. Liars lie. It's their nature. It is insane. It is crazy to expect a liar to tell you the truth, to trust them. Might they tell you the truth sometimes? Yeah, maybe. Sometimes maybe they tell the truth, but you also know that they always thinking about lying, that they're never trying to be good and honest, that even when they tell the truth, often it's for a bad reason. And so never trust them. It is insane to trust them. Older generations, like my parents' generations, are like this. I don't understand it. Sometimes I want to shake my parents. Like, how can you? They'll tell me something they saw on TV, and I'm just why? How can you still believe this? You're 70-something years old. Your whole life they've been lying to you. You know they have been lying to you, and yet you still watch it, and you still believe what they say. Sometimes, are you crazy? How? Makes me crazy. Don't expect liars to tell the truth and be honest. Don't trust them. Don't expect evil people to be suddenly good and kind. Don't do it. They're not going to be. They're going to cut you just like the bush, every time, or most times at least. Okay, Arafat. Oh, hey, it's Arafat saying, thank you hey guys, we love Effortless English because your live topics are fantastic. Oh, thank you. Abraham, wrong is wrong when everyone is doing it. Right is right, even when no one is doing it. Yeah, exactly. It's not a vote. Morality, good and evil are not democracies. The founders of the fathers of America, who created America, wrote about this many, many times, the dangers of democracy. America is not a democracy. It was never supposed to be a democracy, because they knew that, they call it, the tyranny of the mob. They meant that many, many times, what is most popular, the largest groups, can actually be very, very evil, can be very, very bad. It's really easy to get large numbers of people, angry and upset about something, and they do bad things. So exactly, wrong is wrong and right is right. It has nothing to do with numbers. If one person can be right and 1 million people can be wrong. People writing to Clutch. To grab or hold tightly, to clutch, yes. Okay, now this is a good point about, like Alexander says, I wish I could easily realize when a person is kind or when a person is evil. It's not always easy. These experiences you can get only by being in a similar situation. Right, because evil people are masters of the lie, We call them people of the lie, and they are master liars and master actors. So, some people are very obviously bad, but many, many bad people are not obviously and immediately bad, right? It's not, they smile and they pretend. So how do you learn to see it? Well, you need, this is where you need wisdom. This is where you need life experience. You won't get it from a book. You will not get it from a book. We call this in English street smarts, right? It's that intelligence you get from being out in life and sometimes getting cheated, right? And then you start to learn. I learned this when I traveled in India. That was one of the things I got from India. I was a very, very trusting person. Oh, everybody's honest, And then I went to India and traveling around, especially in the cities, constantly, people tried to cheat me. Constantly, because I was obviously a foreigner, a tourist. And, they did it by lying. They always were very, always, hi, how you doing? They always pretended to be super friendly and with a big smile. But this was a good learning experience because I learned something also about human nature. Most people don't do that. You start to learn and to be able to, you will learn how to see the lies. It becomes more obvious. Now, some people are just super, super, super liars, and maybe it takes time. But most people are not super liars. With some experience, you can learn to see it. So for example, if you're traveling and you're in the street, walking in a city, and a stranger, someone you don't know, comes up and starts chatting to you in a very friendly way, you should be cautious. You should be suspicious. That's not normal behavior. Most people do not suddenly start talking to strangers. And especially they're not trying to, hi, how you doing? And they're not overly friendly. None of that is normal. And then if they start asking you personal questions, if they start, wanting you to go somewhere with them, all of these you start to learn. These are signs of possible cheating. Now, maybe they're honest, but most of the time they're not. All of these are signs, and you learn them. You learn it from experience. You got to get out in the world to learn some of these things and to see through it. And you learn it's the same thing when you're dating, right? When you're a young person and you're dating girls, boys, and at first you're blind. You're just following your emotions blindly. You're attracted to a boy or a girl. You don't know why. You just are. And then you're totally blind. And maybe other people, maybe your parents try to tell you, ooh, maybe that's not such a good person, but you won't listen. And maybe later, even your friends tell you, oh, yeah, she's not good. You can't trust her. You won't listen. And then you get hurt. And then she cheats you, or he cheats on you. And you have a very painful time, and it's terrible. And then you learn, but then you start to learn. And then when this happens after several times, you start to realize, I have to look past just emotion. These emotions are not logical, and I have to look more carefully to see a person's nature, not become blind just because I think they're pretty. Not because I'm blind, because I think the guy is just so strong and cool. You have to learn to look for other things, and you start to see people's nature. So there are signs, okay? There are signs to people's nature, and with life experience, you will learn to see them. But you have to get out there and live. You're not going to learn it from a book. Bakir says, why is it hard for bad people to change their nature? Because they don't want to. They don't want to change their nature. They have chosen to be bad. They believe they're getting very good benefits, right? And there are benefits to being bad. There are benefits to cheating people. Why cheat people? Well, it's easy money. If you're cheating, like why those guys in India were always trying to cheat me. for them, it was easy money. You see some person from another country. They don't understand India. They don't understand anything. So you go and you cheat them and you take their money. And then you make money in this easy way. So, that's why. Most of them don't want to change. So they're not going to. Islam with another kind of related, connected idiom, look before you leap. Right. Now, in this case, the fox was already falling. But it's the same kind of idea, to look, to be cautious. Don't act without, when you're acting, when you're looking for help, when you're doing something, try to look more deeply at things and at people, not just the surface. Sir Dad says, how can I get your audiobook? Go to my book website. It's effortlessenglish.com. Just Effortless English. Effortlessenglish.com. That's my book website. And my audiobook is there for free. You have to just enter your email there, and then you'll get the audiobook for free. Effortlessenglish.com. She okay? Ziad says, only one person is responsible for your success. It's you, so be careful about wrong things. Yes. Najma says, AJ, please open your YouTube comment section. No. It's keeping it closed. YouTube is really too annoying to deal with, the comments. It's too difficult to moderate them. Quality of the comments. I mean, luckily with Effortless English, it's still 99% very positive and nice and decent people. But there occasionally, there's spam and other stuff, what are called bots, which are just automated spam programs that put lots of comments there. And their system is really annoying to try to go through and eliminate that stuff. So slow. So YouTube's just it's not worth it. I don't want to waste huge amounts of time dealing with their comments. So I just turn them off now. It's easier just to turn it off. Abde says, when I know AJ Hogue, I hate all my English teachers. They don't know how to explain ideas. Everything with them is so complicated. But with AJ, I improve a lot and very fast. Thank you, AJ. You're welcome. Yeah. Well, that is the job of a teacher, is to make things more understandable for the students. I mean, right? That seems like it. At the least, that is kind of the center of a teacher's job. Help the students understand. And so many teachers do the opposite and confuse their students, which seems pointless to me. Seems like it's the opposite of teaching. And Dawud also with a good comment about this. I think this story talks about when you're in the middle of a problem, you can't think clearly. Oh yeah, that is true. That's why you go to everyone immediately without thinking. Who is good, who is bad. We should be more careful. Oh, that is so true. And I think that is also, you're right. I think that is one of the messages of this story. And it is very true, especially with big problems, very emotional problems, that we can, easily become so confused and we can't think clearly. And then we make really bad decisions. I just said recently this happened with me, with my babies, and one of my babies was sick and in the hospital and maybe going to die. And I had to make all these decisions and so many problems to solve to save him. And, for a short time, maybe one day especially, I can think of, I was getting no sleep. I was stressed out I could not think clearly. So I couldn't make good decisions. I couldn't even talk clearly. Couldn't communicate at all. And that's very, very dangerous. And I had to stop myself. The message of this story. I had to stop myself, calm my mind, see clearly, think about everything more deeply, more clearly, figure out what is most important. What do I need to do first? What do I do second? What do I do third? And then, with a very clear and calm mind, solve the problems and move forward, move forward, move forward. That's what I did, thank God. But, it's very true that especially when something really bad first happens, we can just kind of, right? All the emotions go too crazy and our mind can't think clearly then. And then we start making really stupid decisions because we're reacting from emotion. And that leads us to make a bad decision. And the bad decision can make everything worse. Then the emotions get even bigger, even a worse problem. And then you react again and make another stupid decision. And that makes it even worse. And it can be this cycle where it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse because of this. So you have to stop yourself and calm all of the emotion. Don't make a decision in the middle of being emotional. Especially very important life decisions. Do not make those decisions when you're upset. Don't do it. It's very, very important. It's okay to be upset sometimes. That's normal in life. But don't make decisions when you're upset, right? When you're really sad, when you're really angry, when you're really upset. Don't make a big life decision. Calming down first. Because otherwise, very good chance you'll make a stupid decision and make everything much worse. All right, Eric. We can shape human nature. That's why we're different from animals. We must believe that bad people can turn into good people. Otherwise, we should behave like animals. We certainly have that choice, that free will. We do. But it's better to focus on yourself, I think. I think that's what he's saying. That, in general in life, most people, this is the truth. Most people follow their nature. Now, that nature, you can say that nature, is it genetic? No, many times that nature is from earlier choices. Like someone who's a liar. Were they always a super dishonest liar? Or someone who was really mean? Were they always mean? Probably not. Probably sometime when they were young, maybe when they were small children, they were not mean. They were not super liars. All kids lie a little bit, but they're probably just normal. But at some time in life, they decided to lie and they got a good benefit from it. And then decided to lie again and again, and they started making that choice in life. And most people will continue to follow that nature. Now, in the East, the word is karma. And it's the consequences of your actions, right? When we have an action, it produces a result. That result then produces other results, right? This is basic like Newtonian physics. And so most people just continue to follow that. So we must believe people can turn into good people. It is possible. We've seen from history that there have been people, but I think the point is don't risk yourself. If someone else becoming a good person, that's their responsibility. I think it's nice to have that understanding that it's possible, but we must also realize it doesn't usually happen. It is possible, but not usually. So it's foolish to trust an evil person. It's foolish to hope they'll suddenly become good. Oh, this time they'll become good. This time they'll change. No, they won't. This is what people who love drug addicts. Like, for example, the parents of a drug addict. Now, of course, it's their child. They love their child. Of course. And they keep hoping and hoping and hoping that, it's going to change. It's going to change. And they give the child money. And every time the child has a problem, they solve the problem. But this only makes it worse because now the child can more easily do drugs again. And it's this spiral. It's called codependent is the word that counselors use. But what's required is for the parents to do the opposite of what they want to do. The thing that is most helpful, what most experts will say, is the parents need to do the opposite. The parents need to let the child, the drug addict child, experience all of the pain. Don't help them. Don't help them. If they lose their job, don't give them money. Because when you give them money, well, now they're comfortable, and so it's easier for them to continue being a drug addict. So the help actually hurts them. And what is necessary is you must let them feel the full pain of being a drug addict. And only then can they finally, hopefully, wake up and realize, oh my God, I'm destroying my life. But it's very hard, right? It's hard to do that for someone you love. You're scared that they won't wake up. In general, my approach now with bad people is I don't care about them. I'm not interested in saving them. There's so many good people in the world. Why waste your time with the bad ones? There's plenty of good people who need help and kindness. So why waste your time on the ones who will cheat you? Kong, how do we know who are good and who are bad? You look at their actions. You have to look at their actions, right? We say in English, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, meaning words are easy. Everybody says good things. Evil people, in fact, really evil people are masters of lying. They're masters of sounding good. I mean, politicians, we all know this. Politicians, it's their job. They're all masters at sounding good. How do you know if they're lying or not? You have to look at what they do. What do they actually do? Then you know. And it's the same with individual people in your life. They're all going to say they're good. They're all going to say good things. But what do they actually do? If they say they're a good friend, they're a good friend. But when you need help, they disappear and they don't help you. Now you know they're not really a good friend. Right? They say, they're responsible. They say they will, if you give them some money, they will give back to you later. And then they never do. And you ask them again and again, and they never do. Well, now you know the truth. You know it from actions. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Yeah, Dodd, if I was in charge of my family, I would delete every news channel immediately. Yeah, me too. Certainly for my own family, none. No news. But I wish I could do it with older ones. But anyway, we can't. Yeah, Taha says being skeptical or doubtful is a must sometimes. It's required. If you doubt the person in front of you, you can simply give up as not to get hurt. It breaks our hearts after being cheated. Healthy, we call this healthy skepticism, healthy caution. Respect is earned. Trust is earned. It must be earned. You don't just give your total trust to just anybody when you first meet them. That's crazy. They're just gambling. Does that mean you are unfriendly? No, of course not. Be friendly to people when you first meet them. Be basically kind and good, but don't overly trust them either, right? It doesn't mean you have to everyone's trying to cheat me. That's paranoid, right? It just means that you are aware that some people might try to cheat you. It means that, you have to be a little careful. You have to watch. You have to listen carefully, especially with new people that you don't know at all. So like I said, now I've traveled so much in my life now that if someone just comes up and talks to me on a street anywhere in the world, I immediately I don't really trust them. I don't hate them. I'll talk to them and try to see what they want, but I'm immediately a little suspicious. It's not normal behavior. I'm telling you, it's not normal at all. Just to walk up to a random person in the middle of a street and start talking to them. It's an unusual thing. So sometimes they come up and they just ask, they ask for directions. Do you know where is this? And then, oh, okay, yeah, that's normal. I'll say, okay, yeah, fine. And I'll help them. I'll give them directions and help them. So they might, maybe it's something like that. Sometimes they're effortless English fans. They know me from my videos or my lessons. And that's, of course, finally, I'll talk to them. I'm happy to meet them. And sometimes they're trying to cheat me. Sometimes they start some long story and then they try to ask for money, or then they want, go to their shop or whatever. And those people I don't trust, and I just tell them, go away. But the problem is some people will just automatically and immediately trust everybody, kind of very foolishly. And that's not good. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to do that. You trust people who earn trust. People who, in your family, well, you know them for many years, so of course trust them if they earn it. And friends and things like that. Okay, there's lots of people saying that. Gulisa, thank you. Trung, thank you. Mary, it's hard to understand humans. But with experience you learn, actually. It's a skill. Soporn Chow says, Soporn, thank you for your amazing shows. I've been working in New Zealand for about 8 years, yet my English speaking is not very good, and many people said I have a very strong accent when I speak. Well, keep listening to Effortless English and start practicing. You'll be okay. For accent, you could try my pronunciation course if you want to work on your accent. Yeah, and Cardo is right about this. You will know evil by their faces. Believe me. You do learn. Cardo is right about that. When you are naive is a word means you trust too much. Naive means you do not have street smarts. It's the opposite. You're too innocent. And so when you're naive, maybe you look at someone's face and they're smiling and hi, huh? And they dressed very nice, and you think, oh, this is a nice person. But Cardo is right about this, in that with more experience, when you start to travel more or just more life experiences, and with experience, you learn that there are little small things in their faces that you will notice that give you an idea. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's kind of unconscious. It's kind of something very small, and you just feel it. You just feel there's something wrong about this person. They don't look quite right. They don't sound quite right. There's just something, I just don't quite trust this person. And that comes with experience again. So like I said, now, like for example, in Bangkok, another example of, there are people who will walk around and they try to cheat you. And often it'll be like just some woman, like middle-aged woman, dressed very nicely. And will just come up and start talking with you, very smiling and everything. But, there's something just a little bit not right about it. You can just, the facial, there's just something. With experience, you kind of feel it. And these people they're cheating you. They're trying to sell you. They're trying to cheat you and sell you fake jewelry. But you do learn. You're right. It takes time, but there are little small things. Something in the eyes when people lie. You can start to see a little bit in the eyes. There's certain smiles that are a little fake. You can see this. I see it with politicians a lot. They're fake smiles, and they're kind of like, and it's just it's just maybe it's in the eyes. It's something in the voice where you can just feel there's something a little wrong, that they're acting. Not always, but many times. But you need some life experience for that. Sure, I'll kind of with what I was saying. The best way to avoid bad people is don't trust everyone quickly, and you expect everyone to change or hurt you. Right? It doesn't mean you distrust. There's a middle, right? If again, like you can imagine it in self-defense classes, they have a system where it's like colors, right? Like so it means it's like white, yellow, orange, red. But you could also think like numbers. So from 0 to 10. So 0 means you're totally trusting. You just trust everybody. So you meet someone on the street and you're like, oh, you trust everything they say automatically, immediately. That's foolish. On the other hand, 10 would be where you're just like, go away, and you're paranoid. You think everyone is trying to cheat you all the time. That's a 10. That's also too much, right? So you can see you probably want something around the middle, around a 5. When you're especially in cities, where you're around a lot of people you don't know, where you're not totally trusting, but you're not crazy and paranoid, right? You're basically relaxed. You're not scared all the time. You don't walk around scared, but you're aware. Okay? You're aware. You notice. And if a strange person starts talking to you, you'll talk to them. It's no problem. You're not like, go away, right? You'll talk to them, but you're also you're watching them. You're looking at their hands. You're looking at their eyes. You're listening what they're saying carefully. And part of you is thinking, okay, what does this person want? What do they want? Why are they suddenly talking to me? Maybe it's just a super friendly person who likes to talk. In America, that does happen. There are, especially in some parts of America, like in the Midwest and in the South, women especially, Southern women in America, they will do this. They'll just start talking to you, and they'll talk and talk and talk. They'll tell you personal things about their life and talk. They're not trying to cheat you at all. They're just very super friendly and talkative. But then other people might be trying to cheat you. So you just have to kind of, you learn with life, and you just have to be a little careful, not scared, not crazy, but also not foolish, right? Gazina says, how do your topics always respond to my current situation? It's because I talk about topics that are, like basic life topics. So I think all of us have to deal with these kinds of topics and situations in life at some time. So that's why. Yeah, Merrick says, even in Game of Thrones, they laughed at democracy. Yeah, democracy is kind of a joke. So Bahar maybe is going too far. Bahar says, I cannot trust people easily, and that made me upset and having very few people around me. How can I change that? So Bahar, maybe you're doing a little too much. You're a little too suspicious, right? And you just need to back a little bit. It doesn't mean just be, I trust everybody. But you give people a chance. This is kind of the way you do it. So if someone talks to you, you don't tell them go away immediately unless they look crazy or something's wrong with them. But for normal people, you give them a chance. You talk to them, and you watch their actions. And if they show you that they're decently good, then you trust them a little more. So let's say, someone in your life who's like maybe a new friend. Are they immediately your very best friend and you tell them everything? You trust them completely? No. Maybe you just do something with them. You just kind of hang out a little bit. But then little by little with time, you watch them, you can see how they act in life, right? And then you see their nature, their character. And if you see good things, well, then you can and should trust them more, trust them more, trust them more. If you see bad things, then you trust them less and less and less. So you're constantly adjusting for each person in your life, right? So it's not good to just totally not trust anyone. Of course not. We have to have trust. It's just who do you trust and when do you trust, right? It's something that takes time. You start at the 5, let's say. We use our 1 to 10. You start at 5 with most people, and then as you deal with them, as you are around them, as you see their actions, you adjust. You see bad things, then you become, like 6, 7, 8, you become more and more careful. You see good things, then you go down to 4, 3, more trusting, more open, right? That's it. Dodd says, one day I came across some strangers in my country. I talked to them immediately, but the American ones seemed not interested. Maybe they didn't know me. It could be. Depends, right? Like I said, I will talk to people in other countries. I don't immediately ignore them. And sometimes like you, Dodd, some people they see a foreigner, they want to practice English, or they're just excited to talk to you and kind of meet you and talk about your country and travels. That's obvious, though. With a little time, it's just different. I can tell. Again, this comes with time. What's the difference? Someone who's friendly like Dodd, they're just going to talk to you. They're not trying to get anything. See, the ones who want to cheat you, they always want something. They want you to go to their store. They want you to give them money. They're trying to get something from you. Normal people who are just friendly, they don't want anything from you. They'll just talk to you. They're not going to ask you to give them something. So yeah, sometimes people are a little more suspicious when they're traveling, and that happens. Yeah, okay. This is Alexi with a nice little thing to do. Oh, based on my experience, there's one amazing tool to figure out if someone's good or not. Can you trust them? It's this. Is this man good or better to not deal with him? Lend a couple $100 and don't remind him about this money and just wait. This is great advice. It will give you a lot of information about that person. The most important thing that you'll understand, is that man able to keep his promise or not? This is fantastic advice. It really is good, when you're measuring a friendship. Absolutely. This is 100% true. I can tell you this exact situation from my life with, let's see, 4 friends I can think of in my life in the past where I gave them money or did something with money with them. And 2 of them, 2 that are still my closest best friends, they paid me back, and I never said anything. In fact, they were always telling me, "Hey, don't worry, I'm definitely going to pay you back." They were reminding me. So even if I'll go ahead and say his name. One name is Joe, my friend Joe. Some of you know from LearnRealEnglish.com. So many times I have given him money, or not because he needs money, but maybe we're doing something and he doesn't have enough money at that moment, right? He forgot. He doesn't have enough, right? And he needs some, can you give me some money? I'll pay you later. And and I'll, oh, yeah, sure, okay. And I'll give Joe the money, give him money. Like, let's say $100. With Joe, sometimes I totally forget. Sometimes I will forget I gave him the money. I just totally forget about it. And then 1 week later or 2 weeks later, he will give me the money and say, "Oh yeah, here's the money I borrowed from you." And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot. Did I give you money?" And he's like, "Yeah, you gave me money 2 weeks ago." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Oh, thanks, Joe." So see, even if I forget, he will pay me back. So, I know I can totally trust him with that. Completely. And then there's another friend, not a good friend anymore. And it's the opposite, where I gave him money and tried to help him, and he just totally ignored it. He hoped I would forget about it. When I didn't forget about it, then he would try to make excuses, try to hide from it, even when he had enough money to pay me back. Right? He was doing well. I know he was doing well. He was buying lots of stuff. He had plenty of money. Still did not pay me back. And now really he's not much of a friend anymore. And so exactly what Alexi said, so it's by the actions, right? It's by the actions where you see their real character. Joe's real character, even if I forget, he will remind me. He could easily just be quiet. I would never even remember that I gave him money because I forget about it sometimes. Totally forget. And it's happened many times with Joe, and also his wife, Kristen, who's my other really close friend. Both of them, they will both do that. In both cases, I have given them money in as many different times, and they have totally reminded me later after I forgot that they owe me money. So that's a good one, and I always try to do the same. I try to pay back, and if I forget, I feel terrible, and someone will, if they remind me, I'll pay them immediately. So that's a good one. So you got to do this yourself too, right? Don't try to hide, and if you borrow money from someone, pay them back. Don't try to hide it. It's crazy. Why would you do that to someone who's your friend? Okay, Myat says, some people are very comfortable with cheating and they look easier to survive in their work. Yeah. There are a good number that do, yeah. Some call them, why are some people very comfortable? Some call them smart, some call them cheating. Which is more suitable for them? Well, if they're breaking the rules, if they're lying and stealing, then they're cheating. And yeah, I know some. Who. If this is another good test. See, this is why you have to be smart. This will tell you a lot about people. So imagine you're working, you're in your job, and one person they're cheating, they lie, and they're to be more successful in their job. They kind of lie and they cheat in the job. So number one, that person, you can't trust them. And maybe they're making lots of money. They're doing very well. That's why people do it. They get rewarded in the short term. They get rewarded. It's easy money. It's easy results when you cheat, when you break the rules. Short term, it's easy. But here's the thing, though. You will also learn about your other coworkers. Okay, right? This will tell you about their character also. So you're in the office. Maybe there are 10 people in the office. Well, if 5 other people, they admire the cheater. They say good things about the cheater. They say, oh, he's so smart. Oh, he's great. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not cheating. It's not so bad. It's okay. Look at him. He's doing so well. Well, now they also are not honest. You probably can't trust them either. See how it's really not so hard if you just listen and watch. You will see people's character fairly quickly. You will learn their character. So again, why do people do it? Well, because it's quick and easy results. It's the same thing. Why do people do drugs? I always laugh when people say this. Why does someone become a drug addict? Why do they do that? They think it's a big mystery. Because it feels good. It's not a mystery. It feels good. You think drugs feel bad? You think people do drugs because they feel terrible? They feel fantastic. They feel great. It's pleasure, huge amount of pleasure immediately. That's why people do drugs. Why do people cheat? Because it's an immediate result. It's an immediate good result they get right away. They get easier money, easier success, easier something. That's why they do it. But what's the problem of is that there's a few problems. And the main problem is that long term it produces very bad results. Because, look, just think socially. Just think of it socially, meaning with other people. What happens when someone's a cheater all the time? What happens when someone does not pay money back? Okay, so you have a friend and he's constantly cheating. He borrows money and he doesn't pay it back. You go to a restaurant. He tries not to pay his part, right? He's always trying to pay less than he should. Okay, the first few times, maybe the first year, maybe the first 2 years, everybody ignores it. Everybody lets him kind of cheat. He pays less money every time at the restaurant or the bar. He borrows money. He never pays it back. And he thinks, he's getting this great benefit. But what happens? I'll tell you what happens all the time is eventually the friends get sick of it. The friends are like, I'm sick of this guy. He's always cheating me. He never pays money back. We go out to a restaurant every time. He's just, paying less. He doesn't pay what he should. And what happens is that guy loses his friends. Eventually, the friends say, enough, you're not my friend anymore, right? Go. I'm done with this guy. I'm done. I'm not giving him any more money. I don't want to go out with him anymore because he's always, he never pays what he should. So he loses his good friends. He might later find other friends, but eventually all good people avoid him. He will eventually in life, after time, after many years, that nobody good wants to be around him anymore. And then he's surrounded by other cheaters. And his life is not very good. So there's a price always to this later, but the price comes later. It's not worth the price for the small benefit you get immediately. Okay, Toma says, never make a decision when you are full of negative emotions. That's a good life rule, really. It really is a good life rule. Don't make decisions when you're full of negative emotions. In fact, it's probably even a good life rule not to make decisions when you're full of any strong emotion, even positive ones. Sometimes we can also make bad decisions when we're just, we're so excited inside. Yeah, wow. And we're feeling great. And we're so excited. And then we can make foolish decisions because of that excited, happy feeling, right? We can be too naive. We're not careful enough because we're just so excited in the moment. I've done this. Okay. This is probably more one of my past problems. Not now, really, but when I was young and for many years, I had this exact problem. I was very enthusiastic, still am, but just very easily get excited about ideas and all right, let's do it, yes. And I would just say yes too fast, and I would be too excited, and I made many bad decisions because of that. So I'd say even really just any strong emotion at all. Emotions are good. Excitement's great. Even bad, what we think are bad or negative emotions, they're useful. Sometimes we need them. But the point is, though, just wait till later to make your decisions. Make your important decisions when you're not feeling like that, when you're calm. That's the time for decision making. When you're just feeling nice and calm, your mind is clear. No strong emotions, then you can look at everything carefully and clearly, and you'll make the right choice, or at least you'll make better choices. You'll make better decisions. It's a nice rule, just in general. Don't make decisions in life, important decisions, when your emotions are too high or too low. Ragav says, "Hi, AJ. Caught you today on Facebook. Thanks for putting together a wonderful course. I've been listening to you and your podcasts all the time. Hope your kids are doing good. Love from India." Ragav, thank you very much. That's very nice. Thank you. And welcome. Andrea says, "I've started teaching recently. Although I have a degree, I hated the traditional way of teaching at school." Yeah, me too. I hated English. I want to thank you. You have showed me there is a different way of teaching, not complicated rules and stress, just having fun when learning. Thanks. Great, Andrea, and good luck to you with your students. Enjoy teaching. Enjoy it. Lopsang says, "How are you? I'm doing well, thank you." Okay, well, this is actually good on the other side of it. Some people don't respect good people because they think they're weak and stupid. Right, so you should respect good people. That's the other thing, is use this to see good people. It's not just about bad. You also look and see the nature of good people. This is important too because it's sometimes hidden. Sometimes we don't realize that the best people around us, sometimes they're quiet. They're not the ones who are the loudest and that are the most attractive. Sometimes it's, when you look at your friends, it's not the one that's the most funny and the most cool that's actually the best friend. Sometimes it's the quieter one. But it's the quiet one who will be there when you have a hard time in life. And the funny one disappears and the cool one disappears. But who's there when you really need help in your life? That quiet one that you didn't notice so much before. This is also true for dating and marriage. Often it's easy especially when you're young, but anytime it's that you're looking at the physical thing, right? Oh, this girl's so hot, so beautiful. Or this guy is so cool, and you're not seeing past that it might be someone else who is a little less attractive and hot and beautiful, a little less cool, but their character is strong and good. And look for that. That's what you want in life. So that's a good point. We got to look at the other side too. That also sometimes we don't see. Just as important to see that. Maybe more important to see that. Vladislav, good to see you again. I agree, you should not make decisions when upset. I think you should not make decisions when you're too excited either. Great minds think alike. Just said this. Maybe you're naive, like you mentioned recently. People might take a loan for a nice, expensive car. We should think about possible consequences. Right, so Vladislav already wrote the comment that I just was saying. We're both thinking the same thing. That's right. You can make really foolish decisions when you're excited too. So it's not just the negative ones. It's really all those strong emotions can really mess with, cause problems for our decision making. Leo, let's see. Hey, Jay, you didn't fast today. No, didn't fast today. Can you invite someone with you to make a dialogue? I am going to have an interview. May 26th, I'm going to interview Sri Dharma Pravartika. We're going to talk about natural law. It's going to be it might be a very advanced conversation, but I will do another show after to explain any vocabulary, because he's a very intelligent guy, which is great. However, I already know, because I've seen in many of his videos, he uses some difficult vocabulary normally. So probably I will need to do another show and explain the interview, right? So don't worry if you watched it live when I'm talking to him. If you're confused, if you don't understand everything he's saying, if his vocabulary seems difficult, just don't worry about it, because later, next day, or maybe the next week after, I will explain everything to you so you understand it. And in general, Leo, I do want to do some more interviews. I'm happy I can talk, but it is nice to talk to someone else, right? Gives you another person to listen to, and gives me someone to share ideas. So it's also nice. I'll try to do it a little more. I'm going to jump down to the bottom here. All right, let's see. Oh, I got to go here in a minute. I got to take care of a baby. Hi, Noricel. All right. Yeah, okay, so Cleefy. Hey, Cleefy, good to see you again. Cleefy says, cheating is sometimes an easy way to get short-term benefits. Yeah, that's why people do it. But psychologically, it brings a terrible feeling inside. For good people, most people it does. Not for sociopaths, they don't care. Some people are bad and they don't feel bad at all. They're happy to do bad things. But oops. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Let me just turn it off. Okay. Full happiness is in our code. We can live it in all different parts of our life. Yes, indeed. I think, though, I mentioned sociopaths. Some people don't feel bad when they do bad things. Some people do. Like normal people feel bad. They'll do, if they cheat, they lie, they hurt someone, they get a benefit maybe, but they also feel something inside. They feel a little bad. That's what normal people feel. But there are a percentage, I don't know number, but there's a small percent of people who are so evil, they do something bad, they feel nothing, or they feel good. We call these sociopaths or psychopaths, okay? These are the truly criminally evil. But even they will suffer bad long-term results. They're not happy people, okay? They're not living wonderful lives that are happy, even though they seem rich and famous and they're getting great results. They're not. It's not the same as a deeper, they don't have like a peace inside them, that kind of thing. So there still is a price. Yes, I realize it's Ramadan. I do realize that Muslims are fasting now. Someone commented here that we are fasting. Fasting in the daytime, I believe. It's night here. Yeah, Hussein has got a good point about this. One way for humans to live good is to fear God. God will ask and give punishment to bad people. God is the honest judge. I would say in general, we worry too much about this because people will often ask, why do bad people, they get these benefits? They do something bad and then they get a good result. They get money. And it's like, well, yeah, it does happen, right? And like people are upset about this. But, or you do good to do good. You do good because it's right. You don't do it to get some benefit. Right? If you, do your job and you are honest. Are you being honest so you can make more money? Or are you being honest because, to be honest is the right thing. It's the good thing to do. Hopefully you're doing it just because it's good. And it doesn't matter if you make more money or not. You're not doing it just to get more money, to get some benefit. That's how bad people think, okay? They're always looking for the personal, immediate benefit for them. So don't worry about that. It doesn't matter if they make more money or not. It doesn't matter. They're still wrong, okay? It doesn't matter if somebody gets power because they're bad. It doesn't matter if they get money because they're bad. So what? So what? They're still bad. They're still hurting people. I know we have this thing in our mind. We want them punished. Well, you can try to punish them if you want to. You can try to go against them if you want. But If not, then just, avoid them and do the right thing anyway. Do what's right. Take care of yourself and your family and your people. And when you see those people, just stay away from them. Avoid them. Don't work with them. Don't do things with them. Keep them away from you. And don't worry about their punishment. Whatever punishment they're going to get, whether it's psychological, whether it's in this life, whether it's karma, whether it's judgment, you just leave that to to God and karma, and it's not your job, really, okay? Unless they threaten you, unless they try to cheat you or your people, well, then you have to fight them. Then you must fight them. But otherwise, you can't worry that there's some evil, bad person in the world and they're benefiting. Well, yes, they do. Clearly, that's why they do it. There is a benefit for them. There's also a price. They don't see the price usually. Hans says, I'm fasting. My brain's not working properly. I'm not going to comment him more today. It's all right. I know. It happens. All right, I'll do one more and then time to go. All right. Okay, let's see. Autumn Clouds. That's a nice name. Most of the time, I depend on other person for my happiness. So sometimes when that person ignores me, I feel blue. I feel sad. How should I escape that bad mood later? Well, I think it's, you can get happiness, of course, from other people in the sense that you love them, you enjoy them. That's, of course, really good. But on the other hand, depending on someone for your happiness is clearly not very healthy. You have to be able to find it in yourself. I mean, think of it this way. It's selfish. Let's say, imagine you love this person. Well, if you are just getting your mindset, what you're saying is you get happiness from them. What does that mean? You're taking it from them, right? You're with them and now you feel happy. So they're giving it to you. They're creating happiness for you. Well, what about you? Why you have to, if you don't have it in yourself, it means you're not giving it. It means you don't have it inside you to give to others. It's a very selfish thing. It means you're just trying to take happiness from others. So that's one thing to think about, is you have to learn how to create happiness in yourself, some kind of joy and happiness. So then you have it in you, from God, from your, deep inside you, your soul, whatever it is, or just from, living your own life and making, having things in life that you love from your own mindset. And then when you have all that happiness, now you can share it with other people. Then you can share it with this other person. You make them happier. Because you're automatically so happy. Then when they're with you, they feel happier just to be around you. Now you're giving to that person. That's really love, right? That's love. Now you're giving. You're creating happiness for them, not expecting it from them. Right? It's great. And of course, you'll still get happiness being with them. That's wonderful. But you have to change the mindset, change what your focus. Your focus is on getting it. And you have to focus instead on creating it inside of you so that it comes out of you and you're sharing it. And when you share it, then it increases with others. So that's what I would say. I don't know. How do you do that? Prayer and meditation are good at the very spiritual level. At a very practical level, find things in life you love doing, just you, and do them. Maybe it's some hobbies, it's some activities, it depends, Sorry, got to turn that off. Some people are, more quiet and just reading books makes them happy. So you can do that. And other people are more social and they need to be out and you can join groups and clubs and activities and that might do it. I can't tell you, I don't know you, so I don't know exactly, but you got to create it. You got to try to create that happiness inside yourself so then you can then share it and increase it. So then when you're with this other person, you're not just getting it from them, you're also giving it to them. And they're going to want to be around you more when you do that. It'll be a better relationship when you do that. So everyone benefits. Okay, so indeed, it's time for me to go. I have to go. I have a baby I have to watch. And I hope you had a good day. So wonderful. Aesop's Fable today. We learned to clutch. Remember, let's focus on that as our foe and clutch is our two vocabulary words. Foe means enemy, right? Foe, enemy, friend or foe. This is the phrase we use in English. Friend or foe means friend or enemy. Friend or enemy. Friend or foe. F-O-E. Friend or foe. And the other one is clutch. To clutch is to grab and hold. And again, remember, it has the idea of holding tightly. You can imagine clutching onto money, clutching money, right? So, someone who's very greedy, someone who loves money, they're going to clutch it. They're not just going to hold it normally in their hand. They're not just going to grab it. They're going to grab it and hold it tightly. They're going to hold on and clutch that money, right? Clutch that money. To clutch is the verb. All right. Lots of love to you, and I will see you next time. Mwah! As always, commit to my VIP program. That's how you get the results that I always talk about. Speak English fluently, confidently, effortlessly. Think in English. Train with my VIP program, but you must commit. Don't quit. Commit today. Go to effortlessenglishclub.com. effortlessenglishclub.com.